Everyone, welcome to the PoliticAL update with me, Alexandra Acker-Lyons. I pay attention to political news so you don't have to. It is Friday, June 20th. Hello again from beautiful Oaxaca, Mexico, where we literally weathered the storm. Hurricane Eric came through. We got a lot of rain. We're actually heading down to a beach town tomorrow, and we'll do a little cleanup and have a little fun. I hope everyone enjoyed celebrating Juneteenth yesterday. I know our president did not, and it is not at all surprising that he complained about people having paid federal holidays on the one holiday that is supposed to celebrate the end of slavery. Okay, so shout out of the week goes to Indivisible. The No Kings rallies last weekend were hugely successful. I stopped by the one in Oaxaca. It was really fun. There were a bunch of expats there. An estimated 5 million people turned out. And while there were many, many groups involved behind the scenes all across the country, Indivisible really carried the burden of that weight. They have also been doing a ton on Republican accountability and district visits and fake town halls where the Republican members don't show up. So throw them some money and some thanks if you can. In candidate news, the Virginia primaries happened this week. While Abigail Spanberger did not have a primary opponent, we are thrilled that she is now officially the gubernatorial nominee. Ghazala Hashmi won a very competitive lieutenant governor's race, and Jay Jones narrowly won for attorney general. And importantly, women won all four key primaries for the state legislature. I'll have more to say about the Virginia state leg races in the coming weeks. We're still kind of like sorting through all the primary news and figuring out who's going to need the most support as fast as we can. In Iowa 1, Christina Bonahan announced again she raised $500,000 in the first 24 hours, which is amazing. She lost by an incredibly narrow margin last cycle. This is a very winnable race. As you all know from past episodes, I'm pretty high on Iowa these days. So go support Christina before the end of the June 30th filing quarter. Didn't have a lot of candidate announcements. As I've mentioned before, folks generally don't like to announce right before the end of a fundraising quarter. So I expect that we'll have a lot more news on that front starting after July 4th. Um, just in other political news, my huge takeaway from this weekend was just the really stark contrast between the politics of authoritarianism and the politics of the people. My heart is still breaking over the deaths of Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, and the targeting of other elected officials, including Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvonne. Unfortunately, for those of us who work in this area, the idea that something like this would happen was not at all surprising. It is still horrific, and just the escalation and violent tactics that we've seen from the Trump administration have been horrific. His failed cosplay Dear Leader military parade was a dud. And then we just saw millions of people pouring into the streets, including I saw multiple of my friends posting on various social media channels that was the first time they ever went to a protest. And that is how we're going to take our country back. We need mass action. We need people being brave. We need people stepping out and speaking out. And it also brings me to, of course, the Supreme Court news from this week, upholding Tennessee's ban on gender affirming care for minors. My heart is just breaking for all of our trans friends and families. This is going to cause real damage to kids who are just trying to live their life. So I support the Transcontinental Pipeline and Human Rights Campaign, among others. If you have trans friends or families in your life, just give them a little hug, let them know you're thinking of them this week. It was a really hard week. And then just other stuff I've been reading, paying attention to. The Atlantic has a new piece on the disconnect that happened between the Harris campaign and Democratic super PAC Future Forward. It's titled Inside the Democratic Rupture That Undermined Kamala Harris's Presidential Hopes. Um, I don't know that I would quite put it that way, but it's definitely worth a read. Again, I think we have to really understand what happened last cycle if we're going to be able to rebuild and fix things for next time and not just try to squeak by because midterms might have slightly more favorable turnout for our candidates. I think we need to take a really holistic look at our party from policies to tactics, soup to nuts. So thank you all again, and please subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll talk next week.